Black and gold fans, college football fans, welcome in or welcome back to the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog, where we examine, discuss, honor, and celebrate all things college football across the entire college football landscape, but with a very special emphasis on our beloved black and gold squads of the Missouri Tigers and the Iowa Hawkeyes. Welcome back, guys. I'm your usual host, Blair Parks. This is my instant reaction and recap to yesterday's game between Iowa and Purdue. Iowa's big victory, 24-3 over the Boilermakers in West Lafayette. What a great day to be a Hawkeye. I mean, initially out of the gate, before I kind of break down the good and the bad, definitely have got to say this, hands down, easily Iowa's best effort and outing and best victory of the season to date. Yes, last week during homecoming, they kind of took it to Northwestern, kind of in a get-right type game, 33-13. That was definitely a step in the right direction. I was a little bit weary of saying this offense had found a new cylinder or something different, a next gear. But definitely from what I saw yesterday, maybe it's not really fool's gold, but there still is a lot to prove, because 2 weeks ago against Northwestern, I think that Iowa victory really said more about the state of Northwestern's football program than Iowa turning over a new leaf offensively. But with their big victory yesterday, Iowa improves to record of 5-4 overall, 3-3 in Big Ten conference play, right there back at 300 within the conference. Purdue, they fall to 5-4, also 3-3 in Big Ten conference play. Big win for Iowa, I'm telling you, a huge loss potentially for Purdue, and I'll break that down here in a little bit. And some of you might be wondering, if this is your first time here on the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog, I always want any sort of comments. I always welcome and encourage your interaction, your participation. If you've been with me before and you've commented, chances are I have responded individually to you. You don't have to be a black and gold fan to enjoy yourself. I mean, hey, no one's perfect after all. But this is a safe haven for all college football fanatics, fans, crazies. I want to hear from you. You are all welcome here. This is a safe haven, but I always say this, these episodes are really driven by your comments. So please subscribe, click the button, comment, like, share. Let's keep a good thing going. The channel is growing big time each and every week. So let's continue to get the word out there. Big Mo is on our side. Please stay with me, see what you think, have a good time, subscribe, and tell your fellow college football fans, colleagues, co-workers, family members to check me out here on the Touchdown Black and Gold vlog. Now, some of you might be wondering, hey, why did an Iowa fan tag me if I'm a Wisconsin Badgers fan, or if I'm an Illinois Fighting Illini fan, or a Nebraska Cornhusker fan, right? Well, this is what I did. Because of what happened yesterday in West Lafayette, coupled with what we saw transpire in Champaign, Illinois, between Illinois and Michigan State, there is now going to be a huge ripple effect within the Big Ten West race. It already was the wild, wacky West of the Big Ten West before yesterday's results. But what we saw happen yesterday, wow. I mean, there is going to be a huge fallout within the entire division. So that's why if you're here, as a Purdue Boilermakers fan, you're thinking, why am I here? Because this is going to affect all of us, all of our teams within the Big Ten West, and also basically every single team within the Big Ten Conference itself. So if you're also a Rutgers fan and you're here, or Ohio State, Michigan, or Penn State, you're going to see, because it absolutely also interests you, and you should be paying attention to who might my team meet up with potentially in the Big Ten title game. All right? So just stay with me, because I'm definitely going to get to the fallout and what this all means. What does it mean, Basil, for the Big Ten West division race? So 24-3 was the score. I mean, on a day, if you were with me earlier, late last week, during my Week 10 preview and picks episode, I picked Purdue to win. I also picked Purdue preseason because, after all, Purdue's kind of been our daddy. I mean, Jeff Brom, ever since he took over on the sidelines at Purdue, he's won 4 out of the last 5 against Iowa. We just haven't been able to figure these guys out. And if you're a Purdue fan, I got nothing but love and respect to you, because actually, if you look through history, and I consider myself a fan, a historian of college football, especially of my beloved Hawkeyes, that the team that has beat us the most time as far as a Big Ten conference foe is Purdue. I mean, Purdue has really owned us throughout history. So, but kudos to you. It just really was something I didn't see coming. But I was hesitant, guys, because as I saw what the weather forecast was going to be in West Lafayette, it absolutely leveled the playing field, more kind of equaled this game. Because the weather that we saw in West Lafayette, like we saw across the vast majority of the Big Ten blueprint yesterday, I mean, wind, rain, sogginess. It was tough for air attacks to really have success. I mean, ask C.J. Stroud that in their game, their 21-7 win against Northwestern, that I knew that was really going to be on the side of Iowa, and that's really what the main deciding factor was, I believe. I mean, Mother Nature absolutely helped Iowa, the team that I think is more physical, that has that culture, that identity. When you have a Purdue team that is, I don't want to say a finesse offense, all right? They're a better offense than we are. I'm in awe of them. I'm jealous of how usually Coach Jeff Brom does scheme against us offensively. But a team that they don't want to run, and they're not going to run. The premise really isn't on controlling the lines of scrimmage or the pace of play. That's where Iowa makes up for. That's exactly what the key was to yesterday's victory. And I say that because here it is on Sunday afternoon. I really wanted to do this last night, guys, with you, but I wanted to see how things played out in Champaign, Illinois first before I went on air, and then it just got to be kind of late. We had family in town, and then watching the Alabama-LSU game, I wasn't going to miss that one, especially at the end. So the air attack of Purdue was really grounded. With those wins, that was really kind of the put them behind the 8 ball, and Iowa really clamped down on that. I mean, so that really was a big deciding factor. If it's normal conditions and they play this game, does Purdue win 6 or 7 of these against Iowa? Probably. They do, but just not yesterday. And I think Mother Nature definitely helped. So I will be the first to say that, okay? But, big win, not just for the standings in the Big Ten West, but like I said, just a victory over a good team, a team that has a winning record, that is a contender. So hands down, Iowa's biggest win this season. As far as stats, Spencer Petras looks like a brand new quarterback, guys, the last 2 weeks. I mean, I don't know, maybe getting benched during the Ohio State game in favor of Alex Padilla, maybe that has helped him reset. Maybe it's taken a little bit of pressure off of his shoulders, and I think he has been carrying a lot of the burden of this offense all season, even last year, which, yes, some for a quarterback Spencer Petras is deserved. But the last 2 weeks, why has Iowa offensively all of a sudden been more successful? Because the offensive line is executing much better. They're opening holes for their rushing attack. Back-to-back weeks now, Iowa's put up good numbers rushing. And I'll get to yesterday's totals here in a little bit. The offensive line is opening up better rushing holes, right? They're giving Spencer Petras a little bit better windows for the passing game, giving him more time to go through his progressions. So it all starts, ends, and begins right, with the Iowa offensive line. I totally botched that, by the way. Not going to edit because you know me. I don't do edits. This is a hobby. It's not a job. Doing that kind of work is a job. So the Iowa O-line, that's to me what has been the most impressive the last 2 weeks. And look, it has then ended up with 2 solid victories, okay? But Spencer Petras on the afternoon, 13 of 23 passing, so just under 60%. It needs to be a little bit better, but hey, we'll take it. For 192 yards, 2 touchdowns. That's right, 2 touchdown passes in one game for Spencer Petras. But the big number, 0 interceptions. He did not turn the ball over, and that is what Iowa needs. And that was also a big deciding factor in this game, that I believe Iowa did not have a single turnover. Let me check to make sure. Yep, 0 turnovers for Iowa on the day. So that absolutely helped them as well. Wow, the rushing attack. Wow, I mean, I'm telling you, out of nowhere, as a team, they ended up with 184 yards rushing on 35 attempts. Now, that is after you take away some of the negative yards plays because Spencer Petras was sacked. The Purdue defense, I think they did register 3 sacks. Let me see here. I don't want to be misquoted. Defensively, yes. So Purdue did tally 3 sacks, which compared to what we see Spencer Petras before, I mean, the rest of the season, last season, the guy is basically getting himself really comfortable on the turf. I mean, just the offensive line has done him no favors as far as giving him protection. And then it's worse because the domino effect, it compounds because he is not somebody who's mobile at all. He cannot get himself out of trouble, but only giving up 3 sacks, and they only gave up 1 last week. Once again, it's all about the offensive line play, Iowa fans, first and foremost. I know our offense has a long way to go. I get that. It's not like we've turned world beaters overnight. But the offensive line is the first thing we have to fix. Just telling you. So great job by the offensive line. 184 yards rushing, but like I said, that's with the negative yardage from those sacks. Got to tell you, the young man, I mean, this guy, and I've been saying his name for several weeks, guys. This true freshman that Iowa has, running back Caleb Johnson, KJ, they got something cooking with him, guys. He reminds me so much. He's a hybrid to me between Tyler Goodson and Akram Wadley. He's shifty and quick like Tyler Goodson was, but Akram Wadley was that, but he also just would hit that hole a lot harder, and then getting to the second level would go ahead and do a little juke action. I am very high on this kid being a true freshman, and it showed. Saturday at yesterday's game, 22 carries for the true freshman, 200 yards with 1 touchdown, averaging 9.1 yards per carry. That's how you get it done, young man. So I expect big things from Caleb Johnson in the future. Hopefully he stays at Iowa, doesn't hit the transfer portal. And I've been weary, and I mentioned this for about the last 4 or 5 weeks. I liked what I saw in this young man, but he did get his first official start yesterday. I'm always a little bit weary, though, about giving the keys to the Cadillac to a freshman, a true freshman, because the pounding that he's taking, getting used to big boy football, eventually he's going to put the ball on the turf, on the ground, and you're looking at maybe just taking too many body blows as he gets used to the physicality. I just don't want Iowa to wear out his body too early. But he absolutely gives them the best chance for victory. So I think at this point we roll with them, and hopefully it turns out being in our favor. May the odds forever be in your favor. All right? So I love that. Receiving, I believe Spencer Petras hit 6 different receivers yesterday. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, yep, 6 guys, that's great. He's spreading the love a little bit more, not only force-feeding his tight ends, which, hey, both Sam Laporta and Luke Lachey are studs, but you got to get your wide receivers involved, and he definitely has the last 2 games. And congratulations to Sam Laporta, guy who leads the team in receptions and yards, finally got his first touchdown of the year yesterday. So for you, Sam Laporta, congratulations. Finally finds the end zone, finds pay dirt, finally. For Purdue, said their defense, tallying 3 sacks, not bad, but just a lot of big plays given up to Iowa, especially early. I mean, this game, basically by the start of the third quarter, was really over. I mean, Iowa at the half led 17-3. Then Iowa's first possession, I think actually the very first play of the third quarter, they received the second half kickoff, and Caleb Johnson took it 75 yards for a touchdown. So, I mean, basically 2 quarters and a minute in, it's 24-3. At that point, it was just over. Iowa forced 2 turnovers, 2 interceptions for the Iowa defense. The ball hawks are back, and I believe they forced 2 4-and-outs, turnover of downs against Purdue, maybe even 3. So they absolutely had themselves a day. This defense, guys, I mean, it's phenomenal what we're seeing from the Iowa defense. I mean, I've said this now for the last 5 years. We are wasting and also witnessing a golden age of Iowa defense, guys. I mean, I just looked at the updated stats. With yesterday's performance, with the outcome it was, Iowa, in 6 of the 9 games played this year, guys, they've surrendered 10 points or less. 6 out of 9. And when you want to get really technical, last week, Northwestern scored a garbage touchdown last play of the game to get to 13 points. So they keep them out of the end zone last week. It's 7 out of 9 games they've held opponents to 10 points or less. That is absolutely sick what we are seeing. And this is not a defense that's littered with 5- and 4-star recruits. It's not the Georgia defense. It's not the Michigan defense, not Clemson. It's just guys who execute, scheme, and do what they're supposed to do. And obviously great coaching and prep by DC Phil Parker. Absolute stud. I mean, this defense, guys, continues to get better. With yesterday's result, I believe now Iowa did move up as far as total defense in the nation. Let's see. I think now coming into the game, they were the 6th best scoring defense overall in the nation. Now they moved up number 3. The 3rd best total defense in the nation is in Iowa City. I think it's really awesome, too. When you see number 1 and number 2, you've got Michigan at number 2 and the Illinois Fighting Illini number 1. So the top 3 belong to Big Ten teams, but 2 of those within the Big Ten West. It's crazy. I can't believe that. And then Ohio State and Minnesota are also in the top 10. So 3 of the top 10 are within the Big Ten West division. It's amazing. So the Iowa defense, they just continue to do what we expect them to do, guys. What we've gotten used to them doing. They show up, ball out, do their thing, and just go, pack their lunch and go back to work. They don't do it for accolades. They don't do it for awards. They just continue to impress. I mean, and people have to figure this out. It's the best kept secret. All year long, Iowa's what's overshadowed Iowa's defense this year is the Iowa offense and the on-running joke that it has been. It still is, guys. I mean, 2 games doesn't make up for the Iowa offense that we've seen this year. It doesn't. There's still room for improvement and hopefully the offense keeps going in the right direction, right? But the Iowa offense has been the running joke of this year's college football season, and it's something that is deserved. I'll be the first Iowa fan to say that. If you've watched me before, guys, you've seen that I am very objective. I am not a Homer Simpson, okay? I know who we are, and I know who we're not, okay? And plus, if you like what you're hearing so far, remember, comment, subscribe, share, like. I want to hear your comments, Big Ten fans, all you college football fans, Purdue fans, Iowa fans. I want to hear from all you guys. So the Iowa defense just does what they do. I mean, it's just sick. It's just sick what we're seeing. And hopefully that continues. And it's just really a shame that those stats And the Iowa offense and overall, we have a 5-4 record. It's just we're wasting this defense, guys. Just so good. It's just so good. And I've said this now, and I don't care. Maybe I'm going to go on just for a little bit, a little off tangent, but I'll come back. And maybe this is too bold of a statement for me, guys. But if Iowa simply had a top 80 offense with the defense that we have, that we know we're going to have, regardless of the players, the staff, the roster, if Iowa could be a top 80 offense, they would be in position each and every season to play for the potential big prizes, guys. Talking Big Ten West championships, Big Ten West or Big Ten championships in general, Rose Bowl berths, New Year's Day bowls, playoffs. Well, maybe not that, but if they just had a top 80 offense, they would be in position every year to contend for those big prizes. They would. But defense, great job. You do what you do. Special teams wise, I know Drew Stevens did miss a kick yesterday, unfortunately. Yeah, well, he was 1 of 2, so he was 50%. The walk-on true freshman. I mean, we're in good hands from a field goal perspective. I think we are, Iowa fans, moving forward. Tory Taylor, my favorite. He's still the MVP of Iowa's team because, after all, punting is winning. That summarizes what's wrong with us offensively, by the way, being Hawkeye fans. It just is. That says it in a nutshell, that punting is winning. But Tory Taylor, the punter from down under, what a day. I mean, these numbers might be a little bit inflated because sometimes he had the wind at his back, and it was gusting up to 40, 50 miles per hour. But 8 punts on the day for Tory Taylor, a long of 70. That's right, 70. 70 yards, 4 touchbacks. 2 were inside the 20, and both of those actually were inside the 10 for an average of 51.8, so 52 yards a punt. That is how you get it done. That is Heisman-like, I'm telling you. So the legacy of Tory Taylor continues to grow among Iowa fans and among the nation. It should. He's the nation's best punter, hands down. Hands down. The punter from down under. So that was kind of the good. I mean, the bad, the one thing I will say about the bad, okay, and there's always something that I find that I just didn't like or rubbed me the wrong way a little bit, that I believe Iowa had the ball with 7 minutes and like 40 seconds to go, okay, and by then it's still 24-3. Purdue is not going to come back. The Iowa defense isn't going to fold like a lawn chair or like a pie crust. At that point, you've got to get Alex Padilla on the field, guys. I mean, at that point, you tell Spencer Petras, hey, we're going to rest you. Don't worry about your job. You're the starter. You've earned it the last 2 weeks. You've shown us. And Iowa fans, I don't want to hear any more about let's go to Alex Padilla. We saw there was no result there. Spencer Petras does give us the best chance to win now. Yes, maybe Alex Padilla would in the future because he's younger, but Spencer Petras, that's who we're rolling with. He gives us the best chance to win now. That even though at that point, I think you should have got Alex Padilla on the field to get a couple reps. Give him a couple possessions just to build for the future. I mean, plus you don't want to risk an injury to Spencer Petras, right? Because we've seen it's already dire straits, the Iowa quarterback situation. And think if we lost Spencer, wow, it could be even 100 times worse if that's even possible to fathom and imagine, guys, okay? So I did want to see Alex on the field for a couple possessions. I would have liked to see that. I think a lot of Iowa fans would have too. So once again, like, share, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think. So other than that, and I know a lot of people are saying, oh, typical Kirk Ferentz, he gets up big and then just wants to run the ball out, run the game out. You know, the entire fourth quarter, it's handoff. Well, their last possession, it was 3rd and 8. I don't know if you were watching. I did not see Iowa hand the ball off. They did a pass 12 yards down the field to try to pick up the first down. So it wasn't that. All right, he wasn't just trying to run the ball and run the clock out for an entire quarter and a half. They just didn't score after that. That's it. Okay, that's all right. Okay, 24 points for us. That's good. all right? None of us should complain about that, Hawkeye fans, all right? But overall, just a great, great game. Great effort, complete effort against a quality opponent. So I'm very happy. I mean, 2 weeks in a row said it was a great day to be a Hawkeye yesterday, guys. Now, I do want to spend a little bit of time on this. We're about 25 minutes. Give me a few minutes to discuss what this means for the Big Ten West moving forward, okay? This is buku important, guys, all right? That with what we saw happen yesterday, going into yesterday's action, two front runners, hands down, for the Big Ten West were Illinois and Purdue. And they meet next week, now this coming week, in Champaign. So, but that obviously is now completely up in the air, even more of a bigger matchup, because Illinois losing yesterday at home to Michigan State, and I get it, and I really had a funny feeling that maybe could happen, guys. I called my brother yesterday and said, you know what, after the tumultuous week that Michigan State's had following the suspensions and the ugliness that happened at the Big House last weekend, the scuffle in the tunnel, right? That wouldn't this not just be something that would bring them together and they shock the Big Ten world and beat Illinois in Champaign? And it happened, okay? So with that loss, it now brings a lot of the field closer to Illinois and Purdue, guys, okay? And that with the Iowa win yesterday, now when I look at what's coming up, you know, each team's got 3 games left, okay? And that's the beauty of it, that these teams are still, a lot of them are going to still play each other, so it's going to be decided on the field, guys. But this is what we're looking at, okay? And I think now, if there's not a lot of ifs here, but actually 2 ifs. If next week, if Purdue goes to Illinois and wins, that would then be Illinois' 3rd loss within the conference. And by the way, Illinois, you've looked so good at times, and I'm with you. It's great to see you relevant and back again. But your 2 losses were to Indiana and Michigan State? Really? How? But this is why we love this game. It just doesn't make sense sometimes, okay? But you still handled Iowa, okay? So applaud you on that. But if this happens, if Purdue goes to Champaign next week and beats Illinois, and Iowa, who hosts Wisconsin, which I think is Iowa's biggest game of the year, and I said that preseason as well, that if Iowa beats Wisconsin, I mean, there's going to be just, all hell is going to break loose. Because even right now, before this coming week's action, I think there's 4 teams now that are in play to hoist the Big Ten West trophy, guys. The couple teams I've eliminated based on their records. Northwestern, I'm sorry, you're eliminated. Nebraska, they sit 2-4. They're out. Minnesota, technically, they're still in. Now, I haven't ran some sort of, algorithm or cool equation. I didn't do that, guys. I'm not Bill Nye the Science Guy, okay? But Minnesota, they're 3-3. They've still got a shot, but they've already lost tiebreakers head-to-head against both Illinois and Purdue. They still have to play Iowa and Wisconsin. So I think that really is going to end up hurting Minnesota. So I think they're out of the race. But Illinois, Wisconsin, Purdue, and Iowa, guys, are all right there now. That's what happened. It's like the Red Seas parted for Iowa and Wisconsin fans yesterday, and Purdue fans, in a way, it did. Illinois still is on top. They're 4-2 in conference. And then all 3 of those other teams, Iowa, Purdue, and Wisconsin, are 3-3. And they still have to play each other. It's crazy how it's going to come down to this, guys. I mean, Wisconsin, when I go through the scenarios of these 4 teams, right, that Iowa lost straight up to Illinois, right, but they've got the tiebreaker against Purdue, and they host Wisconsin this week coming up, right? Wisconsin lost to Illinois in Camp Randall, but they beat Purdue, so they're still alive in all of this, even though they have 3 conference losses. And Illinois has basically lost, just to Wisconsin. So if this happens next week, guys, if Purdue goes there and wins and Iowa beats Wisconsin, Wow, I'm telling you, could Iowa still win this division with the offense that we've seen? It's absolutely possible. But I'm just trying to take this a game at a time, but it's really a fun thing to see what could happen, guys. I'm just telling you. There's a lot to play for. So, oh, wow, I can't wait. It's going to come down to it. It's absolutely going to come down to it. And also, who I think has the better shot. I mean, I know what some of the schedules are that remain. Illinois got kind of a tough road. Hosting Purdue, that helps them. But then they travel to the Big House to take on Michigan. So let's say that's another loss. There's 3 losses right there, guys. This is a huge game, a huge week in the Big Ten West. They go to both Michigan and they travel to Northwestern, and you know that Pat Fitzgerald would like nothing more than to ruin Illinois' homecoming and Big Ten West title hopes. You know that. Wisconsin, they go to Iowa, and then they go to Iowa and to Nebraska, but then host Minnesota. So they've got a little bit of a tough way. I mean, 2 out of the last 3 on the road, that's difficult. Iowa, we host Wisconsin, go to Minnesota, and then host Nebraska on Black Friday. And Purdue, they probably have the easiest route. Yes, they go to Illinois, but then they host Northwestern, and I believe go to Indiana. So Purdue probably has the easiest direct route to Indianapolis, but they've got to beat Illinois now. I mean, they've got to do that next week. So it's going to come down to those 4 teams, guys. It just is. It's amazing to see it come down to this. And who would have thought it's basically going to be, before the season kicked off, primarily Illinois or Purdue in the driver's seat for the Big Ten West? Who saw that coming? Yeah, exactly, right? But that's why we love this game. So, and that's huge. So that's why I wanted to share with all of you, you Big Ten fans, that it's going to come down to the last week of the year in the Big Ten West. Could we maybe have a 4-loss division champion, a 4-loss conference champ? We can. Hell, it's that wacky and wild. It's absolutely awesome. And an update too, guys, Iowa's offense is no longer officially the worst offense in the nation. With the last 2 weeks, they have moved up from 131st to, drumroll, what are they moved up to? They are now 129th. So congratulations. Progress is key. That's right. But guys, thank you very much for joining me on my instant reaction and recap to the Iowa and Purdue game. Please subscribe, click the button, comment, like, share. I mean, thank you for all you do for the channel, your support, your attention. I got nothing but love for you. Sammy Sosa style. Look for me. I should have my next episode posted tomorrow early to late afternoon. My Week 10 review and recap episode. Huge things that happened in college football yesterday. I mean, probably one of, if not the greatest week we've had this season with everything that went down. I can't wait to dive deeper into that. But until then, enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks for joining me on this special episode of the Touchdown Black and Gold Vlog. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.